The world of MMA was rocked on September 8, 2025, at the Hyatt Regency in Houston when Silva publicly stated, "I hate Diego Lopes, not because of grudges, animosity from past conflicts or disagreements over rankings, but seemingly out of nowhere, a blunt, startling declaration that captured the attention of fans and media alike. What set this moment apart wasn't simply the raw emotion from one fighter to another, but the playful undertone behind the statement. Silva, famously bald and proud of his nickname, Lord, contrasted sharply with Diego Lopes's luscious flowing hair that has become somewhat iconic among MMA fans and the wider public. This humorous dynamic, jokingly called a hair envy roast by fans, quickly became a major talking point as both fighters gear up for their hotly anticipated Noche UFC showdown. Scheduled for September 13, 2025 at the Toyota Center in San Antonio, Texas, a night that promises fireworks not only for fans of these two, but for the entire Brazilian contingent competing. The press conference itself was a spectacle worth analyzing in detail. Silva sat at the long media table, wearing his signature confident smirk, fielding questions from reporters who expected typical pre-fight banter. When asked about his thoughts on Lopes, Silva didn't hesitate. His response was delivered with theatrical timing that only enhanced the shock value. "I hate Diego Lopes. There's no deep reason, no personal vendetta. I just can't stand looking at that perfect hair while I'm sitting here with this beautiful bald head." The room erupted in laughter. Cameras flashed frantically, and social media exploded within minutes. Lopes, sitting just 3 seats away, maintained his composure with a knowing smile, running his fingers through his hair in what appeared to be a calculated response to Silva's jab. This interaction perfectly encapsulated the personality-driven aspects that make modern MMA so compelling. Beyond the athletic competition lies a world of psychological warfare, entertainment value, and personal branding that fighters must navigate alongside their physical preparation. Silva's comment wasn't just spontaneous humor, it was strategic positioning, an attempt to get under Lopes' skin while simultaneously generating buzz for their upcoming fight. Drop a comment below and tell us who you think will win this epic showdown. Will Silva's knockout power prevail, or will Lopes's relentless pace dominate? Let us know your prediction, and don't forget to subscribe to Free Fighting News for more exclusive MMA content. Noche UFC 2025 represents more than just another fight card. It's a celebration of Brazilian martial arts excellence on American soil. The event, taking place at the Toyota Center in San Antonio, features 6 Brazilian fighters, each carrying the hopes and pride of their nation. This concentration of Brazilian talent isn't coincidental. It reflects the country's continued dominance in mixed martial arts and the UFC's recognition of the marketability and skill level these athletes bring to the octagon. Silva enters this contest with credentials that demand respect. His 16-2 professional record includes 12 knockouts, a finishing rate that places him among the most dangerous strikers in the featherweight division. Silva's background in Muay Thai is evident in his devastating leg kicks and precise elbow strikes, techniques honed through years of training in Thailand's most renowned camps. His Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt adds another dimension to his game, making him equally dangerous on the ground. What makes Silva particularly formidable is his ability to transition seamlessly between striking ranges, from long-distance kicks to close-quarters clinch work to ground-based submissions. Silva's striking accuracy of 45% for significant strikes reveals a fighter who chooses his shots carefully rather than overwhelming opponents with volume. This calculated approach has served him well throughout his career, allowing him to conserve energy while maximizing damage output. His knockout power isn't just about raw strength. It's about timing, placement, and the ability to recognize openings that less experienced fighters might miss. If you're enjoying this detailed breakdown, smash that like button to help us bring you more in-depth fight analysis and MMA content. Training at one of Brazil's premier MMA facilities, Silva's daily routine begins at 5 a.m. with conditioning work designed to maintain his explosive power throughout 5-round fights. His strength and conditioning coach, a former Olympic wrestling trainer, has developed a program that emphasizes short bursts of maximum effort, followed by active recovery, a training methodology that mirrors the ebb and flow of MMA competition. Silva's striking coach, a Muay Thai legend with over 200 professional fights, focuses on maintaining technique under fatigue, ensuring that Silva's power and precision don't diminish in later rounds. Diego Lopes presents a completely different challenge, one that has confounded many of Silva's previous opponents. Lopes averages 4.2 significant strikes per minute, a volume that places him in the top tier of active fighters across all weight classes. This relentless output isn't just about throwing more punches, it's a systematic approach to breaking down opponents through accumulated damage and psychological pressure. Lopes understands that while Silva might possess superior knockout power, sustained pressure can neutralize that advantage by preventing Silva from finding the timing and distance necessary for his most dangerous techniques. Lopes' wrestling background, developed through years of training with American collegiate champions, gives him a significant advantage in grappling exchanges. His 48% takedown success rate reflects not just technical proficiency, but also the conditioning necessary to maintain wrestling pressure throughout an entire fight. When Lopes secures takedowns, his ground control is suffocating. He averages over 3 minutes of control time per successful takedown, using positional dominance to land ground strikes and threaten submissions while wearing down his opponents. The stylistic matchup between Silva and Lopes represents one of MMA's classic confrontations, the precision striker versus the volume pressurer. Silva's game plan will likely revolve around managing distance, using his superior reach and timing to land clean shots while avoiding Lopes' takedown attempts. Silva's corner has undoubtedly spent countless hours drilling takedown defense, working on sprawls, underhooks, and cage positioning to keep the fight standing where his knockout power can be most effective. Make sure to subscribe to our channel right now for complete coverage of Noche UFC and never miss our expert fight breakdowns and exclusive MMA content. Lopes, conversely, will look to close distance quickly, mixing strikes with level changes to keep Silva guessing. His ability to chain wrestling attacks, transitioning from failed takedown attempts to clinch work to renewed shooting attempts, makes him particularly difficult to defend against. Lopes' cardio advantage becomes more pronounced in longer fights, where his sustained pressure can break down even the most defensively sound opponents. However, as any MMA analyst knows, fights are won and lost in moments that can't be predicted by statistics or game plans. Silva's knockout power means that a single well-timed counterpunch could end the fight in the first exchange. Lopes' wrestling dominance could lead to a quick submission if Silva makes a defensive error on the ground. This unpredictability is what makes MMA compelling, the intersection of skill, strategy, and split-second decision-making under extreme pressure. The psychological dimension of this fight extends far beyond Silva's hair-related comments. Both fighters are at crucial points in their careers where a victory could propel them into title contention, while a loss might require a lengthy rebuilding process. Silva, at 29 years old, is entering his athletic prime with the experience to make a championship run. Lopes, slightly younger at 27, represents the new generation of well-rounded fighters who combine traditional martial arts with modern training methodologies and sports. Silva's Lord persona isn't just marketing, it reflects a genuine confidence in his abilities that borders on arrogance. This mental approach has served him well, allowing him to enter fights believing he's the superior athlete regardless of his opponent's credentials. However, this same confidence could become a liability if Silva underestimates Lopes' ability to control the fight's pace and location. Lopes' measured responses to Silva's provocations demonstrate emotional maturity and strategic thinking. Rather than engaging in verbal sparring, Lopes has focused his pre-fight media appearances on technical analysis and training updates. This approach suggests a fighter who understands that mental games are secondary to physical preparation and tactical execution. Noche UFC supporting card amplifies the event's significance within the broader MMA landscape. The lightweight division features an intriguing matchup between Lucas Lightning Oliveira and Rafael the Anaconda Silva, two fighters whose contrasting styles mirror the main event's dynamics. Oliveira, known for his lightning-fast combinations and footwork, brings a striking-heavy approach that has resulted in 7 consecutive victories, 6 by knockout. His hand speed and movement create problems for wrestlers who rely on predictable takedown entries. Rafael Silva counters with a grappling pedigree that includes multiple Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu World Championships and a submission rate of over 70% in his professional MMA career. Silva's ability to secure takedowns from unconventional angles and transition immediately to dominant positions makes him a nightmare matchup for strikers who haven't developed elite-level ground games. The key question in this fight centers on Oliveira's takedown defense and Silva's ability to close distance against a mobile striker. The welterweight division showcases Carlos El Toro Mendez against American wrestler Jason the Hammer Hayes, a fight that has generated significant betting interest due to the perceived stylistic advantages each fighter possesses. Mendez brings knockout power in both hands and a Brazilian crowd that will create a hostile environment for Hayes. However, Hayes' collegiate wrestling background and grinding style have proven effective against Brazilian strikers who rely primarily on technique rather than defensive wrestling. Felipe the Flash Costa's flyweight bout against Diego the Silent Assassin. Martinez represents the future of the division, two young fighters with complete skill sets and championship aspirations. Costa's explosive movement and combination striking have drawn comparisons to former champions, while Martinez's counter-striking precision and knockout power make him equally dangerous in exchanges. The Brazilian contingent's performance at Noche UFC carries implications beyond individual career trajectories. Brazil's MMA reputation was built on the success of fighters like Anderson Silva, Jose Aldo, and Amanda Nunes, athletes who dominated their divisions while representing Brazilian martial arts culture on the global stage. The current generation, including John Silva and Diego Lopes, carries the responsibility of maintaining that legacy while establishing their own identities within the sport. Training camps for Noche UFC have been particularly intense, with each fighter understanding the career implications of their performances. Silva's preparation is focused heavily on conditioning and takedown defense, working with Olympic-level wrestlers to simulate the pressure Lopes will bring. His striking coaches have emphasized maintaining technique under fatigue, drilling combinations and counters repeatedly until they become instinctual reactions rather than conscious decisions. Lopes' camp has concentrated on striking defense and cage positioning, understanding that Silva's knockout power requires constant respect and defensive awareness. His wrestling coaches have developed specific strategies for chaining takedown attempts and maintaining pressure even after failed attempts. Lopes' conditioning program has emphasized maintaining his pace throughout 5-round fights, recognizing that his volume advantage becomes more pronounced in later rounds. The Toyota Center itself adds another layer to the event's significance. Located in San Antonio, the venue has hosted numerous major combat sports events and maintains a reputation for creating electric atmospheres. The arena's acoustics amplify crowd noise, creating an environment where fighters feed off audience energy. For Brazilian fighters performing in front of passionate supporters, this energy can provide a significant psychological advantage. The economic impact of Noche UFC extends beyond the immediate event. Pay-per-view buys, merchandise sales, and sponsorship deals create revenue streams that influence fighter pay and future matchmaking decisions. Silva and Lopes understand that compelling performances can lead to higher-profile fights and increased earning potential. Adding financial motivation to their competitive drive, media coverage of the Silva-Lopes rivalry has highlighted MMA's evolution from a niche sport to mainstream entertainment. The hair-related humor has generated memes, social media engagement, and mainstream sports coverage that reaches audiences beyond traditional MMA fans. This crossover appeal demonstrates how personality-driven storylines can expand the sport's reach and create new fan bases. Technical analysis of both fighters reveals subtle advantages that could prove decisive. Silva's southpaw stance creates problems for orthodox fighters like Lopes, particularly in exchanges where angles and timing become crucial. Silva's left straight and left hook become dangerous weapons against fighters who haven't extensively prepared for southpaw opponents. However, Lopes' wrestling background has required him to train with fighters of all stances, potentially neutralizing this advantage. Lopes' pressure style creates cardio demands that could test Silva's conditioning in later rounds. While Silva has never been stopped due to exhaustion, he hasn't faced an opponent who maintains Lopes' level of sustained pressure. The pace of this fight could become a determining factor if Silva's knockout attempts are unsuccessful in early rounds. The judging criteria for this fight will likely favor the fighter who can impose their preferred style most consistently. Silva needs to avoid prolonged grappling exchanges and create space for his power shots. Lopes must maintain forward pressure and secure regular takedowns to accumulate control time and positional advantages. Both fighters understand that leaving the decision in the judges' hands introduces uncertainty that can be avoided through decisive finishing attempts. As fight night approaches, the anticipation continues building among fans, media, and fellow fighters. The combination of technical skill, personal rivalry, and championship implications creates a perfect storm of competitive intensity. Silva's confidence and knockout power clash with Lopes's pressure and grappling dominance in a matchup that could define both fighters' careers. The broader implications extend to the featherweight division's title picture. The winner positions themselves for high-profile matchups and potential title eliminators, while the loser faces the challenge of rebuilding momentum in an increasingly competitive division. This adds urgency to both fighters' approaches and ensures maximum effort from the opening bell. For viewers, this fight represents everything compelling about modern MMA: technical excellence, personality-driven storylines, and unpredictable outcomes that keep audiences engaged throughout. The hair-related humor provides entertainment value, while the serious competition delivers athletic excellence at the highest level. What's your prediction for this clash of styles and personalities? Will Silva's knockout power prove decisive, or will Lopes's pressure and grappling control the fight? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Tell us who you think takes this fight and why. Type "Dome" if you believe Silva's baldness gives him aerodynamic advantages, or share your detailed fight predictions. Make sure to subscribe to Free Fighting News for comprehensive coverage of Noche UFC and all the latest developments in combat sports. The countdown to September 13th continues, and this promises to be a night that MMA fans will remember for years to come.